The text came through at exactly 4:12 p.m., just as I was reviewing the final payment confirmation for my sister's move overseas, a wire transfer for $8,600 I'd been saving since last spring. I'd spent hours talking to visa agents, helping her sign papers, reading through rental agreements, even putting my name down on her new apartment lease because she didn't have a local guarantor. It was supposed to be a fresh start for her. A family gift. And then my phone buzzed, and everything shifted in one single, cutting message. Hey, you're not invited to my farewell. It's family only. I stared at the screen, my heartbeat skipping, cheeks burning so hot I could barely breathe. Family only? My name is Lauren, and from wherever you're watching this, stay with me. Because I almost texted back right away. I almost let the tears win. Almost begged for a place at a table I had paid to build. But then another notification arrived from Mom. Honey, don't make this awkward. Just let her have her day. I swear I felt the world tilt under me. They really believed I didn't belong. That I was separate from the family, even after I'd just bled out nearly $9,000 to make this happen. A coldness crawled up my spine, sharper than any heartbreak, more honest than any apology they might try to throw at me later. Fine. If they wanted awkward, I'd show them awkward. I scrolled through my banking app with mechanical precision, fingers numb but steady. Frozen. The pending travel transfer was instantly locked down, flagged as suspected fraud. My name on the lease? I contacted the landlord and removed myself as co-signer before the ink even dried. By 11:45 p.m., my dad, who hadn't spoken to me in days, sent a voice note. I pressed play, phone trembling, bracing for it. His voice was furious, strangled with rage. Lauren, what have you done? You're going to destroy this family. I played it twice, just to be sure I'd heard him right. Destroy this family? No. They'd done that themselves. I sat on the edge of my bed, replaying Dad's voice note until I could practically feel his breath on my neck. You're going to destroy this family. Like I hadn't been the one keeping it together in the first place. Like I hadn't emptied my savings to buy my sister a plane ticket, put down her deposit, covered her moving boxes, even loaned her money for that fancy farewell dress she'd bragged about. But apparently, I wasn't family enough to come say goodbye. I stared at my hands, shaking. They looked like a stranger's hands. This was how they'd always treated me, wasn't it? The fixer. The wallet. The spare. Never the daughter. Never the sister. Never the one who deserved a seat at their table. I'd been so desperate to believe that helping my sister would finally make them see me, to finally be invited and instead of standing outside with my nose pressed to the glass. But nothing changed. Not even $8,600 could buy my way into belonging. My phone buzzed again. Mom, this time, texting like nothing was wrong. Don't make this harder. Your sister deserves a happy send-off. Happy. With whose money? I felt something solid and final click into place inside me, like a deadbolt turning. Fine. She could have her party. She could have her family. But she'd do it without my funds. I scrolled through the landlord's messages, confirming my name was off the lease. They'd have to scramble for a new guarantor in 2 days or lose the apartment. I checked the bank again. The wire was still frozen. No chance to withdraw. A second wave of messages came in, now from my sister. Why are you ruining this for me? I trusted you. You always have to make it about yourself. Don't do this to me, please. Each word dripped with entitlement, with that lazy cruelty people use on someone they think will always forgive. But I wasn't forgiving this. Not this time. The quiet of my apartment pressed in around me, and I let it steady me. Because if they were going to treat me like an outsider, I was going to act like one. I was going to protect myself, my finances, my sanity, even if it meant watching them unravel. And for once, I felt nothing but relief at the thought. I barely slept that night, turning every word over in my head until it felt like acid on my tongue. Family only. Don't make this harder. Why are you ruining this for me? It was as if they'd all gathered to script the most perfect betrayal. One final proof that I was only useful so long as I stayed quiet, paid up, and disappeared. I watched the minutes crawl past on my phone until 3 a.m., unable to close my eyes. Every time I tried, I saw my sister's laughing face, the way she'd posted about her new life and all the dreams she'd been blessed with, never once mentioning who had paid for it.
Me.
I'd worked 2 jobs for over a year, barely letting myself buy new shoes, skipping nights out with friends, cutting coupons, just to make this happen for her. And I wasn't even invited to the farewell party? I felt something curdle in my chest, equal parts heartbreak and rage. No more. I opened my laptop, scanned through my folders, and found every receipt. The tickets, the visa documents, the housing deposits, the moving van. My money. My signature. My guarantees. I sent a short, cold email to the airline, attaching the payment hold notice. The trip would be canceled if no alternate funds showed up within 48 hours. Then I forwarded a final copy to my parents. No explanation. No apology. Just the raw truth of what happens when you bite the hand that feeds you. My phone exploded within minutes. First my sister. Lauren, please. You know I can't go without those funds. You're being evil. Then Dad again. You are sick. Vindictive. Do you want us to be embarrassed in front of everyone? Embarrassed. That was the real problem, wasn't it?
Not me.
Not my broken heart. Not the complete erasure of my place in their lives. Just their reputation. I set the phone down, refusing to answer. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't jumping to fix the mess. I wasn't sending another loan. I wasn't swallowing another insult. They wanted me outside their party?
Fine.
They'd feel what it meant to truly have me gone. And I swear, somewhere deep down, past the guilt they'd drilled into me, I felt free. By morning, I had 23 missed calls. My sister tried every angle in her arsenal. Rage, tears, guilt, back to rage again. It was like watching someone flip through a Rolodex of manipulation, desperate to find one that still worked on me. But none of them did. Mom texted me again around dawn. Lauren, you're blowing this out of proportion. Think of your sister's future. Her future. Funny how it was always about someone else's dreams, someone else's comfort, someone else's shine, and I was supposed to fund it, applaud it, then fade into the background like a paid stagehand. Not anymore. I sat by the window, staring out at the morning light. The world looked so normal. Dog walkers, delivery vans, parents hustling kids to school, but mine had been turned inside out. Still, beneath the shaking, beneath the heartbreak, was a calm I didn't expect. Because I'd made my choice. I wasn't going to pay for people who couldn't even call me family. I wasn't going to bankroll a party I wasn't allowed to attend. I wasn't going to co-sign away my own future just so they could brag. They'd called me dramatic, vindictive, jealous. Fine. If protecting myself meant they'd paint me as a villain, then so be it. I'd rather be the villain in their story than keep playing the victim in mine. Around 9 a.m., Dad's name lit up my phone again, and this time I answered, because I needed to hear it straight from him. His voice was already shaking with fury. Lauren, fix this. You're humiliating us. What will people think when she can't leave? You promised you'd help. I took a long, steadying breath. I did help, I answered. I helped more than anyone ever should have. And then you told me I wasn't family enough to say goodbye. Silence on the other end. It's her day, Lauren, he finally ground out. Why make it about you? My throat felt raw, but I stood my ground. You made it about me the second you told me I didn't count. His sigh was a rattled, disappointed echo. If you go through with this, you're dead to us. I felt a jolt, a lifetime of fear and dread around those words. Dead to us. But instead of panicking, I felt relief. Noted, I said, calm as glass. Good luck finding someone else to pay. Then I ended the call, set the phone face down, and let the quiet settle around me like armor. They could throw their tantrums, spin their stories, poison every relative's ear. I was done. And for the first time in years, I felt like I could finally breathe. The day went on like a slow-motion car crash. My phone kept pulsing with messages that grew meaner and more frantic by the hour. Each ding felt like a test, like they were prodding me to see if I'd break, if I'd cave the way I always had. But I didn't. Because every time I looked at those words, you're dead to us. Think of your sister. You're humiliating the family. I remember the text that started it all. Family only. I'd read that line so many times, it was etched into my bones. Family only. They meant everyone but you. That truth burned through every apology they tried to force, every manipulation they twisted around me. I wasn't family to them. I was a tool, a checkbook, a silent background extra. No more. In the afternoon, my sister tried a new angle, voice sugary and soft on voicemail. Lauren, I know you're upset. You always take things so personally. But please don't ruin this for me. I need this fresh start. Fresh start. That fresh start had my name and my money stamped all over it. I didn't reply. Instead, I sat down at my tiny kitchen table with a mug of stale coffee and let myself feel everything. The betrayal, the rage, the grief, the final cutting loss of a family I had tried so hard to believe would one day love me. It was grief, but it was also liberation. Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Once you hear your father say you're dead to us for refusing to bankroll a party you're not invited to, there's no going back. I checked the travel freeze again, still locked. No one had managed to break it. The landlord confirmed in another email that the apartment lease would collapse without my name on it, and my sister hadn't found a replacement. Their perfect farewell was crumbling around them, and they were terrified. Good. They needed to feel what it was like to be disposable, to be pushed to the edge of the family's story and told they didn't belong. I'd lived my entire life on that edge. Now it was their turn. As evening settled in, I made myself a cheap dinner, noodles, nothing fancy, and sat in the quiet, phone on silent, windows open to the cool air. The peace felt almost unnatural at first, but slowly, breath by breath, it started to feel like freedom. Night came, heavy and quiet, pressing against the windows like a secret. I sat on the couch with the lights off, staring at nothing, letting the darkness soothe me. My phone buzzed on the table, screen flashing again and again, but I didn't move. They were panicking. I could feel it through the walls, through the air itself. They'd built their entire plan on my name, my money, my willingness to be used. And I had shattered it in a single night. At 11:45 p.m., another voice note arrived from Dad. My stomach twisted as I picked up the phone, thumb hovering over play. I knew what it would be, more poison, more guilt, more threats. Still, I had to hear it. One last time. I pressed play. His voice was harsh, cold, and final. Lauren, you have ruined this entire family. You have humiliated us beyond repair. You will never be welcome in our lives again. I hope you're happy. You chose this. I replayed it, just to be sure. Never welcome.
Ruined the family.
As if I hadn't kept them afloat for years. As if I hadn't sacrificed every spare dollar, every vacation, every dream just to keep them living in their illusions. And now they were exiling me because I refused to buy a seat at their table. I set the phone down, my hands perfectly steady. They wanted me gone? They'd get their wish. No more phone calls. No more emergency loans. No more rescuing them from their own disasters. It was terrifying, how quiet it felt, but it was also the truest silence I'd ever known. I stood and walked to the window, pushing it open so the night air could wash over me. For the first time, I let myself imagine a future that didn't revolve around their needs. A future where my money was mine, my time was mine, my heart was mine. That future was wide and terrifying and unknown, but it was mine. And that was worth every insult, every threat, every voice note screaming I'd ruined them. Because I was done being their safety net. They could learn to save themselves. And I would finally learn what it meant to live for me. The following day, the messages slowed down. Maybe they'd finally realized I wasn't bluffing. Maybe they'd moved on to their next scapegoat. Or maybe, for once, they had to look in the mirror and see what they'd done. I didn't care which. My sister posted a carefully filtered photo on social media, her suitcase open, half-packed, a long caption about fresh starts and big dreams.
She didn't mention me.
Didn't mention how she was supposed to get on that plane with my money. Comments poured in, praising her bravery, celebrating her adventure. It should have hurt. It should have made me feel replaced. But instead, I felt free. Because I knew the truth. And even if no one else ever did, I would never forget it. I'd given everything I could until there was nothing left of me. And still they'd told me I wasn't enough. Still they'd made me the villain. But I'd drawn my line. Finally, in the afternoon, I packed up my receipts, all the documents proving exactly what I'd paid and signed for, and stored them neatly in a folder. Just in case they ever tried to come for me again. A final layer of armor. Then I put my phone on silent, brewed myself a proper cup of coffee, not the instant garbage I'd been living on for months, and sat by the window, letting the sunshine warm my face. I felt different. Like I'd been underwater for years, and finally broken through to breathe real air. No more controlling what they thought of me. No more performing the good sister, the good daughter, the reliable one. I was Lauren. I was allowed to matter. Even if it meant they hated me. Especially if it meant they hated me. Because maybe that hate was proof I'd finally chosen myself. My phone buzzed one last time, a final text from Mom. "We're done with you." I stared at it, feeling a strange peace settle into my bones. They were done?
Good.
I'd been done for a long, long time. I closed my eyes, exhaling everything I'd been holding in, and whispered to no one in particular. Let them go. And I meant it. A week later, the quiet had become a kind of freedom I could actually taste. No more begging calls. No more voice notes laced with rage. No more guilt twisting around my ribs until I couldn't breathe. Just me. I cleaned my tiny apartment top to bottom, tossing out every reminder of them. Old family photos, birthday cards scribbled with half-hearted love, receipts for money I'd handed over year after year like a dutiful machine.
Gone.
I even found a crumpled envelope at the back of a drawer with a note my sister had written years ago. "Thanks for always bailing me out." I laughed, a short, sharp sound, then shredded it and watched the pieces fall like confetti into the trash. It felt ceremonial, like burying a ghost. The lease was gone, the wire transfer permanently canceled, her big farewell unraveling behind her. She'd have to face the truth of that on her own. And Dad's voice, still echoing. "You're dead to us."
Dead? No.
Alive for the first time. Alive in a way I hadn't been since I was a kid, before they taught me that love had a price, that family meant servitude, that my place was to stay silent and useful. No more. I opened the window, breathing in the spring air. Somewhere down the street, a kid laughed, a dog barked, traffic rumbled past. Real life, normal, messy, and beautiful. I could have that, too. Not a perfect family, not their fake, brittle version of love, but something real. I deserved that. My phone lit up one last time with a final, desperate voicemail from Dad. I didn't even listen. I deleted it without a second thought. My life was no longer up for negotiation. I made myself a simple dinner, poured a glass of wine, and sat down in the quiet, feeling the weight of peace settle across my shoulders like a warm blanket. I was alone, and I was safe. And if that meant I'd lost them forever,